Hello, fifth graders, and welcome to Math for Today. As usual, you will need your math resource binder, your 5A textbook, your 5A workbook, and paper and a pencil. If you need to pause and go get any of those things, please do so now, and then come on back. All right, starting off with our warm-up questions. Go ahead and solve these two problems. Pause and solve, and then when you're done, come on back and see how you did. So remember, when we are subtracting mixed numbers, we want to find a common denominator. Hopefully you saw that the least common multiple of these two numbers of 9 and 18 is 18. So we actually don't have to change our second number. Our first one, though, we multiplied 9 by 2 to get to 18. So we need to multiply 8 by 2, which is 16. We subtract and get 13/18. We check, is it proper? Yes. Does it need to be simplified? No. So our answer is 13/18. Yesterday, we started working on adding mixed numbers. So remember, step one is to add our whole numbers. 5 plus 3 is 8. Then we copy down our fractions and move on to finding our common denominator, which is 14. So again, our second number did not need to be changed. Our first one, though, we multiply both by 2, to get 6. Now we add our fractions. 6 plus 11 is 17. So we have 8 plus 17/14. Do we need to make it proper? Yes, we do. 17/14 is equal to 1 and 3/14. Now we add. Always good to check. Do I need to simplify? I do not. So our correct answer here is 9 and 3/14. All right, fifth graders, building off of that, today we're going to be subtracting mixed numbers, okay? This is going to build on the skills that we've already worked on. Some of it potentially can be more complicated, okay, than with adding mixed numbers, but we will work through it. We will get practice at it, and you'll get a chance to try it, okay? So as before, I'm going to be starting off with some notes. I want you to follow along with me so you could copy down as we go, or as I've been doing all week, I'm going to add these to the classroom, so you can always look there as well in order to see how to get these notes into your math resource binder. So with that, I'm going to flip you around. We're going to get started. Subtracting mixed numbers. So as with our addition, I'm going to scoot you so that I can fit this on better. We're going to start by subtracting the whole numbers and then rewrite the fractions. Okay, so if we were going to do 5 and 1/4 minus 2 and 2/3, 5 minus 2 is 3. So we have 3 and 1/4 minus 2/3. You'll notice I'm not putting that addition sign there. There will be a reason as we work through this together, okay? So next step is to find those equivalent fractions with common denominators. So 4 and 3, their common denominator will be 12. So we have 3 and 3/12 minus 8/12. So if you're looking ahead, you might see a problem here. 3/12 minus 8/12. We actually can't do this subtraction as is, right? If we have 3 of something, we can't take away 8. So it's going to involve us using the whole number. So step 3, if it is possible to just subtract the numerators, you should do that, okay? In this case, it's not possible. So if it's not possible, what we're going to do is make this mixed number improper and then subtract the numerators, okay? So if we make it improper, 3 times 12 is 36, plus 3 is 39. So now we have 39/12 minus 8/12. We do our subtraction and get 31/12. Now we say, if possible, we're going to make it proper. So I have our division here telling us, right? Remember, if we're making something proper, we can't just do it in our heads. We do our division. 31 divided by 12 goes in twice. 2 times 12 is 24 with a remainder of 7. And we're going to express that fraction, that remainder, as a fraction over the divisor. So we have 2 and 7/12. If possible, simplify. It's not possible to simplify, so we end up with 2 and 7/12. Okay? So some of the problems that we're going to do, we'll be able to just subtract the numerators and then go on to make proper and simplify. Others, we're going to have to do this step of making the mixed number improper. So to start today, fifth graders, we're going to be looking at page 62 in your textbooks. Again, you're going to work along with me, and then eventually I'm going to give you some problems to be working on independently. I'm going to be keeping my textbook off to the side. I'll copy the problems from over there. Okay, but you should be still working along and following along with me. So number 2 on page 62 says, find the difference in length between 4 3/4 of a meter and 3 7/12 of a meter. So 4 3/4 minus 3 7/12. So looking at our steps here, remember that our first step is to subtract the whole numbers. 4 minus 3 is 1. And then we copy the problems, or fractions, excuse me. Step 2 tells us to find equivalent fractions with common denominators. Our common denominator here is 12. So again, we don't have to change this second number. If it's already at the least common multiple, we don't need to do anything to it. So now instead we're going to focus on here. Okay, so 3/4, we need to multiply both of these by 3 to get an equivalent fraction. So we end up with 1 9/12 minus 7/12. So this is where we see step 3 tells us, if possible, subtract the numerators. And it is, right? If 9 is greater than 7, we can just subtract those numerators. So subtract the numerators. Our whole number should stay the same. 9 minus 7 is 2, so we end up with 1 2/12. Okay, now we can go right on to step 4. Do we need to make it proper? We do not. Do we need to simplify? Yes, we do. 2 and 12 are both divisible by 2. So we end up at 1 1/6. So you can see, fifth graders, if it's possible to just subtract the numerators right off the bat, that's a lot simpler, right? A lot fewer steps along the way. But we need to know how to do it both ways, because not every time is it going to work that way. Okay, so let's try 3a together. 3 1/6, I should add, I haven't been doing that, but this would be meters. We are subtracting meters here. Okay, 3 1/6 minus 1 5/9. So again, we start by subtracting our whole numbers. 3 minus 1 is 2. And then we can copy our fractions. So I can tell you now, as I'm looking at these two fractions here, I have a feeling that we're going to have to use the more complicated method of making our mixed number improper. But let's see where it gets us. So what's our common denominator here? It's going to be 18. That's our least common multiple. Okay. So 6 times 3 is 18. So we need to multiply 1 times 3, which is 3. 9 times 2 is 18, so we need to multiply our 5 times 2, which is 10. So you can see what I was getting at here, right? We see that we can't just subtract 3 minus 10. It won't work that way. And so we're going to go ahead and make this improper. So maybe you know 18 times 2 in your head, or maybe you write it out. But either way, you should find 36. But then we have to add our numerator in. So 36 plus 3 is 39/18 minus 10/18. We do the subtraction now. 39 minus 10 is 29/18. So now we check. Do we have to make it proper? We do. So again, if we're not sure, we can just do the division here, or maybe we can do it in our heads, okay? And we get this remainder 11, which is the numerator now, over our denominator of, or over our divisor of 18. So our answer is 1 11/18. And now we check, does it need to be simplified? Nope, it does not. Okay, so this one you can see, right? It takes a few more steps when we can't just do the subtraction, but we are capable of that. Let's try 3b together. 4 1/6 minus 1 3/10. So we start by subtracting our whole numbers. 4 minus 1 is 3. And we rewrite our fractions. Again, we're seeing that 6 and 10, which we hopefully are very certain on right now, our least common multiple here is going to be 30. So 1/6, we're going to multiply both of these by 5 to get 5/30ths. 3/10, we're going to multiply both of these by 3 to get 9/30ths. So hopefully you're seeing that this isn't going to work quite as easily here, right? 5 over 30, we can't subtract 9 from 5. So we're going to have to make it improper. So 3 times 30 is 9, plus 5 is 95. So we have 95/30ths minus 9/30ths. We do that subtraction, we should get 86/30ths. So again, we could go off to the side and do this division here if we need to. Or we can also think 30, 60, 90. So if I'm skip counting, we're going to get a little too high if we go to 3, but 2, so 30, 60, 86 minus 60 is 26. So we get 2 26/30ths. Okay, and now we have to check. Can we simplify? And the answer is yes, we can. These are both divisible by, let's just start with 2 and see where that gets us. 13/15, and that's actually as far as we can simplify, is 13/15. Okay, 5th graders, I want to show you, we've been making this whole thing improper, but I also want you to see that sometimes it's not necessary to do that whole thing. So this is a sample problem that I'm just going to make up on my own. Okay, so let's say 5 1/2 minus 2 2/3. So let's get started on the process, which we start with that whole number. 5 minus 2 is 3, and 1/2 minus 2/3. Okay, now we find those equivalent fractions. The common denominator here is going to be 6. So we have 3/6 and 4/6, which we're not actually going to be able to subtract. So at this point, we've been making it improper. That you can continue to do. That is just fine, okay? There's also this option that you could potentially borrow from here, right? So we have 3. So if we think about it in terms of a number bond of 2 and 1. So we could say 2 plus, so we're taking the 2 out, and then the 1 we want to turn into 6/6. So we have 6/6 and 3/6. We're going to combine those together to make 9/6 minus 4/6. So we end up with 2 5/6. Okay, this is an alternative method where we're basically taking 1 away from our whole number and changing our fraction. So our fraction went from 3/6 to 9/6 because we borrowed 1 from here. If you like that, if you want to do that, that's great. If I showed that to you and that makes no sense, don't worry about it. The method that we talked about here is going to work as well. Okay, either of those options will work. So 5th graders, I'm going to give you, again, 3 practice problems. I'm actually going to do 4 today, 4 practice problems. 2 where you do not have to make improper and 2 where you do. Okay, I want you to pause. After I've written these all down, you can pause and solve these and then come on back and see how you did. So we'll do 4 5/6 minus 3 1/12. Let's do 5 3/4 minus 2 2/5. Is that going to work? Okay. We'll do 5 1/3 minus 2 3/4. And we'll do 6 1/10 minus 2 5/6. So pause, fifth graders. You're going to go and solve each of these, and when you're done, come on back and see how you did. So for number 1, we start with our whole number. 4 minus 3 is 1. Next, we want to find our common denominators. It's going to be 12, which means we don't change the second number, okay? But we do change this one. 5/6 is equal to 10/12 when we subtract both, okay? Or when we multiply by both. Now we do our subtraction of our numerators. So we get 1 and 9/12. Can we make this proper? Nope, it already is. Can we simplify? Yeah, these are both divisible by 3. So you should have gotten 1 and 3/4. Let's try 2. 5 minus 2. You should have subtracted your whole numbers and gotten 3 3/4 minus 2/5. We find our common denominator, which is 20. 3/4 when we find our equivalent fraction. 3/4 should be 15/4. 2/5 should be 8/20. So we do our subtraction. 15 minus 8 is 7. So we're at 3 7/20. Can we make it proper? Nope. Can we simplify? No. So 3 7/20 is our answer. So in both of these cases, we were able to just do our subtraction, right? Because our numerator was greater here than here. Our numerator was greater here than here. These next two, however, you're going to have to do that borrowing or making improper, okay? So we start with our whole numbers. 5 minus 2 is 3. 3 1/3 minus 3/4. Now we find our common denominator of 12. 1/3 is 4/12. 3/4 is 9/12. So you can see, hopefully you saw that you can't do this subtraction. Okay, so if we make it improper, 3 times 12 is 36, plus 4 is 40. 40/12 minus 9/12. We do our subtraction and get 31/12. And then when we make that proper, we should get 2 7/12. So we've made it proper. We check if we can simplify it, and we cannot. So our answer here is 2 7/12. Finally, number 4, 6 minus 2, we start with our whole number, is 4. I gave you this one because your textbook's been giving you a lot of these combos. So hopefully you again noticed our common denominator is 30. So 1/10 is 3/30. 5/6 is going to become 25/30. And again, see, we can't do that subtraction, okay? So maybe you borrowed here or maybe you made it improper. Either way should work, okay? So 4 times 30 is 120, plus 3 is 123/30. Okay, and then now you do your subtraction. Maybe you went off to the side. Maybe you used some of your mental math strategies. But we should have found that our difference is 98/30. Okay, now we make it proper. So I again think 30, 60, 90. That goes in 3 times with 8 left over. Or maybe you went off to the side and did your division. That's fine too. Okay, can this be simplified? Yeah, these are both even, so they can be simplified. So we would end up with 3 4/15. So I know I'm kind of like a broken record now, 5th graders saying this, but again, this is checkpoint 1 for you. How did these 4 problems go? Did they go well or did you struggle? If you were struggling, this would be a great time to reach out for help, okay? If you're not feeling good about how that went. Maybe it went okay, which means you're on to going to the practice work, okay? There's an attachment below that's your practice work. I shouldn't say below, there's an attachment on your assignment. That's your practice work. So you're going to complete that practice work. Again, use the key to check. And again, that's your second checkpoint of how you're doing. Did that go well? Did you understand any mistakes that you might have made? Or are you feeling like that really didn't go great at all? In which case, again, reach out to a teacher, ask for help, visit office hours. If you're feeling good about that second checkpoint, then you're going to go on to your homework, which is workbook pages 58 and 59. Okay, you're going to complete your problems. You're going to submit pictures of that work. And then we'll let you know. We'll see how you did, and we'll give you your feedback. Okay, so use those checkpoints to help you figure out where you're at with your learning of the new concept. Okay, good luck. Let me know if you need help.